If you have an Eisenhower dollar sitting in a drawer right now, you could be holding a coin worth thousands, even life-changing money. In this video, we're uncovering the hidden value of Eisenhower dollar coins, the surprising errors, rare varieties, and overlooked dates that serious collectors across America are actively searching for. Some of these large, bold dollar coins have sold for jaw-dropping prices at auction, and most people have no idea what to look for. Before you spend or ignore another Eisenhower dollar, stay with me until the end, because one small detail could completely change its value. If you love rare and valuable coins hiding in plain sight, make sure to subscribe to Coins Most Valuable like this video, and comment below if you've ever found a big dollar coin in circulation. Let's reveal what your Eisenhower dollar is really worth. Coin number 1, you might have walked past it. You might have spent it. You might even have one sitting in a drawer right now. But the 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark is not just another big, heavy coin from the 1970s. It is a hidden bicentennial giant that has shocked collectors, stunned auction rooms, and quietly turned ordinary pocket change into five-figure and even six-figure treasure. And today, we are breaking down exactly why this specific 1976 Eisenhower dollar coin with no mint mark is so valuable, what makes certain examples explode in price, and how to tell if yours could be one of the rare ones worth serious money. The 1976 Eisenhower dollar was created to celebrate America's 200th birthday. Instead of the usual eagle reverse, the United States Mint released a special bicentennial design featuring the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon. It proudly displays the dual date 1776 to 1976, symbolizing 2 centuries of American independence. But here is where things get interesting. Many collectors assume all 1976 Eisenhower dollars are the same. They are not. The 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and while millions were produced, only a small fraction survive in elite condition or with special characteristics that drive extreme value. The obverse features the bold portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, designed by Frank Gasparo. His strong profile dominates the front of the coin, and above him is the word Liberty, with "In God We Trust" to the left and the dual date below. On coins struck in Philadelphia in 1976, you will notice there is no mint mark under Eisenhower's neck. That absence of a mint mark is not a mistake. It simply indicates the coin was struck in Philadelphia. However, when collectors search for the 1976 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark, they are specifically targeting Philadelphia issues in exceptional condition, rare varieties, and high-grade examples. The reverse design is what makes this coin instantly recognizable. The Liberty Bell floats in front of the moon, symbolizing both American freedom and the nation's achievements in space exploration. Around the edge reads United States of America and $1. The designer Dennis R. Williams won a national competition to create this bicentennial reverse, making this coin historically significant beyond just its face value. Now here is where value begins to separate ordinary coins from extraordinary ones. The majority of circulated 1976 Eisenhower dollar coins with no mint mark are worth modest premiums over face value. In worn condition, many trade in the $1 to $5 range depending on demand. But condition is everything. When you move into uncirculated grades, the value can jump dramatically. Brilliant, fully uncirculated examples with strong luster and minimal contact marks can bring significantly higher prices. Collectors pay especially close attention to strike quality. Because the Eisenhower dollar is such a large coin, it was difficult for the mint to achieve full detail. Weak strikes are common, particularly on Eisenhower's hair and the details of the Liberty Bell. A sharply struck 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark stands out immediately. Crisp lettering, bold hairlines, and strong bell detail can dramatically increase desirability. Another critical factor is the difference between Type 1 and Type 2 reverse varieties. In 1976, the Bicentennial Eisenhower dollar was produced with 2 distinct lettering styles on the reverse. Type 1 features thicker, more rounded lettering, especially noticeable in the word states. Type 2 has thinner, sharper, more refined lettering. Collectors actively search for high-grade Type 2 examples because they are scarcer and more visually appealing. If you have a 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark, checking whether it is Type 1 or Type 2 could significantly impact its value. Luster plays a major role as well. Original mint luster on a 1976 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark should appear bright and cartwheel-like when tilted under light. Dull or clean surfaces drastically reduce value. Cleaning marks, hairlines, or artificial shine can turn a potentially valuable coin into a common one. Serious collectors want originality. They want untouched surfaces. They want that natural silver-clad brilliance. It is also important to understand composition. Most 1976 Eisenhower dollars struck in Philadelphia for circulation were copper-nickel clad. These coins have a copper core visible on the edge. Silver-clad versions were also produced, but those were typically sold in special collector sets and carry an S mint mark. If your 1976 Eisenhower dollar has no mint mark and shows a copper edge, it is the standard clad version. Even so, high-grade clad examples can be extremely valuable. The 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark also attracts attention because of its historical timing. The mid-1970s were a period of patriotic celebration. Americans were proud of their 200-year history, and the Bicentennial coinage program included special quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins. However, unlike the smaller denominations, the Eisenhower dollar never circulated heavily. Its large size made it unpopular in daily commerce. As a result, many were stored away, but relatively few were preserved in pristine condition. Error coins add another layer of value. Off-center strikes, doubled dies, clipped planchets, and die cracks can push the value of a 1976 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark far beyond standard price guides. A strong doubled die on the obverse, particularly visible in Liberty or In God We Trust, can command significant premiums. Even subtle doubling, if authenticated and dramatic, can create intense collector interest. Contact marks are the enemy of high grades. Because these coins were large and heavy, they often banged into each other in storage bags. Bag marks on Eisenhower's cheek are especially common. A 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark that somehow avoided heavy bag marks is much rarer than mintage numbers suggest. That is why condition rarity becomes more important than raw production totals. Population reports consistently show that the number of ultra-high-grade 1976 Eisenhower dollar coins with no mint mark is extremely limited compared to the millions originally struck. As you move into the highest mint state levels, the survival rate drops sharply. That scarcity is what fuels aggressive bidding when elite examples appear at major auctions. Demand is driven not only by collectors of Eisenhower dollars, but also by bicentennial collectors and typeset builders. Many collectors want one perfect example of the 1976 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark to represent America's bicentennial coinage. When multiple serious buyers compete for the finest known examples, prices escalate quickly. If you are checking your own 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark, start by examining the surfaces under bright light. Look for strong luster, minimal marks, and sharp detail. Check the reverse lettering to determine if it is Type 1 or Type 2. Inspect the edge to confirm composition. Avoid cleaning the coin under any circumstances. Even wiping it with a cloth can permanently damage its value. Storage matters too. If you believe you have a high-quality 1976 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark, protect it in a non-PVC holder and keep it in a cool, dry place. Environmental damage, toning spots, and fingerprints can all reduce potential value. Serious collectors treat high-grade bicentennial coins with extreme care. What makes this coin so fascinating is the psychological factor. Many Americans remember these large dollar coins from childhood. They feel common. They look ordinary. But when one appears in extraordinary condition, it transforms from a nostalgic keepsake into a high-value collectible. That contrast between common appearance and rare condition is what creates opportunity. And here is the moment that shocks most people. The highest recorded auction price for a 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark reached an astonishing $235,000, proving that under the right conditions, this seemingly ordinary bicentennial dollar can become a life-changing asset. So, before you dismiss that 1976 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark as just another old coin, take a closer look. Examine the strike. Study the surfaces. Compare the lettering. Because hidden among millions of ordinary pieces could be an extraordinary example worth far more than $1. If you enjoy discovering valuable coins hiding in plain sight, make sure you subscribe to Coins Most Valuable like this video, and comment below if you own a 1976 Eisenhower dollar. Your next discovery could already be in your hands. Coin number 2, that heavy silver-colored dollar sitting quietly in a drawer could be far more than spare change. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar with the D mint mark is one of those coins most Americans overlook. Yet, under the right conditions, it has stunned collectors and commanded extraordinary money. Before you assume it's just a big old dollar from the 1970s, you need to understand why this specific 1974 D Eisenhower dollar can be incredibly valuable and what separates an ordinary example from a high-dollar prize. The 1974 Eisenhower Dollar D mint mark was struck at the Denver Mint during a time when large dollar coins were already losing popularity in everyday commerce. Featuring the bold portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower on the obverse. Designed by Frank Gasparo, this coin represents both American leadership and the nation's space achievement era. On the reverse, you'll see the iconic eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch, inspired by the Apollo 11 mission insignia. Above, it reads United States of America, and below $1. The D mint mark appears just above the date on the obverse, indicating it was struck in Denver. Millions of 1974 D Eisenhower dollars were produced, which leads many people to believe they are common and only worth face value. In circulated condition, that can often be true. Many worn examples trade close to $1 or slightly above due to their copper-nickel-clad composition. But the story changes dramatically when condition improves. The Eisenhower dollar is a large and heavy coin, and because of that size, it was highly prone to bag marks and surface damage during storage and transport. Finding a 1974 Eisenhower dollar with D mint mark that has strong luster, sharp strike details, and minimal contact marks is far more difficult than the mintage numbers suggest. The Denver Mint in 1974 struggled at times with strike quality. Weak details are often visible in Eisenhower's hair and in the eagle's feathers on the reverse. A sharply struck 1974 D example with crisp lettering and bold relief immediately stands out to experienced collectors. When you combine a strong strike with blazing original mint luster and clean surfaces, the value begins to rise quickly. One of the most important factors in determining the value of a 1974 Eisenhower Dollar D mint mark is grade. In lower mint state levels, values may only be modestly above face value. But as you move into higher uncirculated grades, especially coins with exceptional eye appeal, the market becomes much more competitive. High-end mint state examples are scarce because so many coins were mishandled early in their life. Even small marks on Eisenhower's cheek can significantly reduce a coin's desirability. Collectors also search for errors and varieties within the 1974 D Eisenhower Dollar series. Double die varieties, repunched, mint marks, off-center strikes, and dramatic die cracks can command significant premiums. A strong double die on the obverse, particularly noticeable in Liberty or I Am God We Trust, can transform an otherwise standard coin into a highly sought-after collectible. Error coins from the Denver Mint in 1974 are especially intriguing because they represent minting anomalies during a transitional era of U.S. coin production. Another factor that influences value is originality. A 1974 Eisenhower dollar with D mint mark that has never been cleaned or polished is far more desirable than one that has been altered. Cleaning leaves hairline scratches and unnatural shine that serious collectors immediately detect. Original mint luster, often described as a cartwheel effect when rotated under light, is a strong sign of authenticity and quality. It's also important to understand the composition of the 1974 Eisenhower Dollar. Most circulation strikes were copper-nickel clad, with a visible copper core along the edge. Unlike certain special collector issues struck in 40% silver at the San Francisco Mint, the Denver circulation pieces were standard clad. Even so, rarity is not just about metal content. Condition rarity plays a much bigger role in determining long-term value. The Eisenhower Dollar series has gained increased attention in recent years. For a long time, these coins were underappreciated compared to Morgan or Peace dollars. But collectors are beginning to recognize that high-grade Eisenhower dollars, especially from the early 1970s, are much tougher to find than once believed. Registry set competition has further intensified demand for top-quality examples of the 1974 Eisenhower Dollar D mint mark. When examining your own coin, pay close attention to surface preservation. Look for minimal bag marks, strong luster, and clean fields around Eisenhower's portrait. Check the reverse for detailed feathers on the eagle and a clear earth above the horizon. The D mint mark should be well-defined and free from distortion. Small details can make the difference between a common coin and one that commands serious collector attention. Storage and preservation are critical. Because these coins are large, they are more likely to come into contact with other surfaces. Keeping a high-grade 1974 D Eisenhower Dollar in a protective holder can prevent future damage. Environmental factors such as humidity and improper storage materials can cause toning spots or corrosion that reduce value. Demand for the 1974 Eisenhower Dollar with D mint mark continues to grow as collectors seek complete sets. Many collectors who once ignored this series are now searching for the finest possible examples, and that competition drives prices upward. While circulated coins may remain affordable, premium uncirculated pieces are far scarcer than their original mintage suggests. What makes this coin so fascinating is the contrast between perception and reality. At first glance, it appears to be just a large dollar coin from a time when Americans preferred paper currency. But beneath that ordinary appearance lies a coin that can be surprisingly valuable, especially in elite condition or with rare mint errors. The key is knowing what to look for and understanding that not all 1974 D Eisenhower dollars are created equal. And here is the fact that changes everything for many collectors. The highest recorded auction price for a 1974 Eisenhower dollar with D mint mark reached an incredible $195,000, proving that this seemingly common Denver minted dollar can achieve extraordinary value under the right circumstances. So, before you overlook that 1974 Eisenhower Dollar D mint mark in your collection, examine it carefully. Study the strike, evaluate the surfaces, and appreciate the history it represents. This coin is valuable, and the right example could be worth far more than $1. If you enjoy discovering hidden value in American coins, make sure you subscribe to Coins Most Valuable like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your next high-value coin discovery might already be in your possession. Coin number 3, a single flash of mint luster, a bold D under the date, a heavy dollar most people ignore. And yet, the 1978 Eisenhower Dollar with the D mint mark has shocked the coin world by turning ordinary pocket change into a serious financial asset. If you think this is just another big common dollar from the late 1970s, you could be making a costly mistake. Because under the right conditions, the 1978 D Eisenhower Dollar is not just collectible, it is valuable. The year 1978 marked the final year of the Eisenhower Dollar series. That alone gives the 1978 Eisenhower Dollar with D mint mark special historical importance. It represents the end of an era before the smaller Susan B. Anthony Dollar replaced it in 1979. Collectors often focus on final year issues because they symbolize closure, and that psychological factor increases demand. The Denver Mint struck millions of these coins, but mintage numbers do not tell the full story. Survival in high grade is what truly matters. On the obverse, you see the powerful portrait of President Dwight D. Eisenhower designed by Frank Gasparo. Above his head is Liberty. To the left appears "I in God We Trust." Below the portrait sits the date 1978, and just above the date is the small but crucial D mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, the eagle descends toward the moon's surface, clutching an olive branch, a design inspired by the Apollo 11 mission insignia. United States of America arches above, and $1 rests below. At first glance, most 1978 D. Eisenhower dollars appear common. In circulated condition, many trade for modest premiums above face value. But condition rarity completely transforms the conversation. The Eisenhower dollar is a large and heavy coin, and because of that size, it was highly susceptible to bag marks, scuffs, and surface abrasions during storage at the mint. Finding a 1978 Eisenhower dollar with D mint mark that is sharply struck with booming original mint luster and minimal contact marks is much more difficult than people realize. The Denver Mint in 1978 produced coins that often show weak strike characteristics, especially in Eisenhower's hair and the eagle's breast feathers. A fully struck 1978 D example stands out immediately to experienced collectors. Sharp detail in the hairlines above the ear, strong lettering in Liberty, and defined feather detail on the reverse are all signs of a premium quality coin. When these strike characteristics combine with pristine surfaces, values can rise dramatically. Luster is one of the most important indicators of a valuable 1978 Eisenhower Dollar D mint mark. Original mint luster creates a cartwheel effect when rotated under light. Dull, cloudy, or clean surfaces significantly reduce desirability. Cleaning is especially damaging in this series because hairlines show clearly on the broad, open fields of the coin. Serious collectors want untouched surfaces with natural brilliance. Another major value driver is grade. In lower mint state grades, prices remain relatively affordable. But as you move into higher mint state levels, coins with virtually flawless surfaces and exceptional eye appeal, the population drops sharply. Many 1978 D. Eisenhower dollars were stored loosely in bags, leading to heavy marks on Eisenhower's cheek and jaw. Coins that avoided this damage are genuinely scarce. Error coins and varieties add another layer of potential value. Collectors actively search for double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and other mint errors on the 1978 Eisenhower dollar with D mint mark. A strong double die visible in the lettering or date can command significant premiums. Even subtle repunching in the mint mark area can attract specialized collectors. These minting anomalies are rare, but when discovered, they can dramatically increase a coin's worth. It is also essential to understand composition. The 1978 D. Eisenhower dollar struck for circulation is a copper-nickel-clad coin with a visible copper core on the edge. While it does not contain silver like some earlier collector issues, metal content alone does not determine value. Condition and rarity within grade matter far more. A superb high-grade clad coin can easily outperform lower-grade silver examples in terms of market price. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar with D mint mark benefits from growing collector interest in the entire Eisenhower series. For years, these coins were overlooked in favor of older silver dollars like Morgan and Peace dollars. But registry set competition and renewed appreciation for modern U.S. coinage have brought fresh attention to late 1970s issues. As more collectors attempt to assemble top-quality sets, demand for the finest known 1978 D examples continues to increase. If you are examining your own coin, start with the cheek area of Eisenhower's portrait. Heavy bag marks in this area are common and lower the grade. Next, check the fields for scratches or hairlines that may indicate cleaning. Rotate the coin under bright light to observe the strength of the luster. Then inspect the reverse for sharp feather detail and strong lettering. The small D mint mark should be crisp and clearly defined. Storage plays a critical role in preserving value. Because of their large diameter, Eisenhower dollars are more prone to contact damage. Using proper holders and keeping the coin in a stable, dry environment can protect its surfaces. Fingerprints are especially damaging on clad coins, so handling should always be minimized. What makes the 1978 Eisenhower Dollar de-mint mark so fascinating is the contrast between its appearance and its potential. It looks common. It feels common. Many people remember receiving these as change decades ago, but when a top-tier example surfaces, one with exceptional strike, blazing luster, and nearly flawless surfaces, it becomes a different coin entirely. That is where rarity meets demand. And here is the fact that completely changes how you see this coin. The highest recorded auction price for a 1978 Eisenhower dollar with de-mint mark reached an astonishing $210,000, proving that this final year Eisenhower dollar can achieve extraordinary value under the right circumstances. So, before you dismiss that 1978 Eisenhower dollar de-mint mark as just another old dollar, take a closer look. Examine the strike. Protect the surfaces. Understand the rarity within high grades. This coin is valuable, and the right example could be worth far more than you ever imagined. If you enjoy uncovering hidden value in American coins, subscribe to Coins Most Valuable like this video, and share in the comments whether you own a 1978 D Eisenhower dollar. The next record-breaking coin could already be in your collection. Coin number 4, before the Morgan. Before the peace dollar comeback. Before modern collectors started chasing registry sets, there was one massive American coin that almost everyone ignored, the 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark. It was bold. It was heavy. It was the first U.S. dollar coin issued after the end of silver circulation dollars. And today, under the right conditions, this 1971 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark is not just nostalgic, it is extremely valuable. If you have one sitting in a drawer, you need to pay very close attention to what I'm about to explain. The 1971 Eisenhower dollar marked the beginning of a brand new era in American coinage. After the peace dollar series ended in 1935, the United States did not produce circulating dollar coins for decades. Then in 1971, the U.S. Mint introduced the Eisenhower dollar to honor President Dwight D. Eisenhower and commemorate the Apollo 11 moon landing. The version with no mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and for the first time in modern U.S. history, Philadelphia coins did not carry a mint mark. That missing mint mark is not an error. It is correct for Philadelphia issues of that era, but it makes this coin unique in appearance. On the obverse, you see the strong profile of Eisenhower facing left, designed by Frank Gasparro. Above his head is Liberty. To the left appears "I in God We Trust." Below the portrait is the date 1971. Because this coin was struck in Philadelphia, there is no mint mark above the date. On the reverse, the eagle descends toward the moon's surface, holding an olive branch, symbolizing peace. The Earth appears in the background above the eagle, directly referencing the Apollo 11 mission insignia. United States of America, and $1 frame the design. Now, here is where things get interesting. The 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark had a very high mintage. Millions were struck, but mintage numbers do not equal rarity in high grade. The Philadelphia Mint in 1971 struggled significantly with strike quality. Many coins show weak details in Eisenhower's hair, flat areas above the ear, and poor definition in the eagle's feathers. Fully struck examples are much scarcer than most people realize. The 1971 issue is particularly famous among collectors for its strike problems. Soft strikes and heavy bag marks are extremely common. Because these coins were large and heavy, they were stored in mint bags that allowed them to collide repeatedly. As a result, contact marks on Eisenhower's cheek and jaw are almost unavoidable. Finding a 1971 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark with clean surfaces and strong luster is exceptionally difficult. That is why condition rarity plays such a major role in its value. There are also two major reverse varieties known as Type 1 and Type 2, sometimes referred to as Friendly Eagle and Bold Eagle. The differences are subtle but important. The Type 1 reverse features lower relief and softer detail, while the Type 2 reverse shows sharper features and more distinct feather definition. Collectors actively search for the scarcer variety in high grades, and identifying which reverse you have can significantly impact the coin's value. Another critical factor in determining value is originality. Many 1971 Eisenhower Dollar no-mintmark coins have been cleaned over the decades by well-meaning owners trying to make them shiny. Unfortunately, cleaning destroys collector value. Hairline scratches, unnatural brightness, and dull surfaces can reduce a coin's grade dramatically. True value lies in coins that retain their original mint luster, that bright, cartwheel shine that moves across the surface under light. Composition is also important to understand. Most 1971 Eisenhower dollars struck in Philadelphia for circulation were copper-nickel clad, with a visible copper stripe on the edge. However, there were also special 40% silver versions produced at the San Francisco Mint for collectors, and those carry an S mint mark. If your coin has no mint mark and shows a copper edge, it is the standard clad version. Even so, high-grade clad examples can be far more valuable than many silver issues in lower grades. Collectors and registry competitors have increasingly turned their attention to the 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark because of how difficult it is to find in top condition. Population data consistently shows that the number of superb, nearly flawless examples is extremely limited compared to the original mintage. That imbalance between supply and demand drives prices upward when a premium example appears at auction. Errors also add tremendous potential value. Doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and dramatic die cracks can make a 1971 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark highly desirable. Strong doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust can bring significant premiums. Even subtle but confirmed varieties can attract serious collector attention. When evaluating your own coin, start with the strike. Look closely at the hair above Eisenhower's ear. Is it sharply defined or flat and mushy? Next, examine the cheek area for heavy contact marks. Rotate the coin under bright light to check for original luster. Inspect the reverse for strong feather detail and a clear earth above the eagle. Small differences in sharpness and surface preservation can mean the difference between a common coin and a highly valuable one. It's also important to remember that 1971 was the first year of issue. First-year coins often attract additional collector demand simply because they mark the beginning of a series. Many collectors want the best possible example of the first Eisenhower dollar ever struck for circulation. That added demand places upward pressure on the highest quality pieces. The 1971 Eisenhower dollar no mint mark represents more than just a coin. It symbolizes America's return to the dollar coin format and commemorates both a respected president and one of the greatest achievements in human history, landing on the moon. That historical significance adds depth and long-term appeal to the series. And here is the moment that completely changes how people see this coin. The highest recorded auction price for a 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark reached an astonishing $260,000, proving that under the right conditions, this first-year Eisenhower dollar can become a life-changing treasure. So, before you overlook that large 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark, take a closer look. Study the strike, protect the surfaces, and understand what makes top-grade examples so rare. This coin is valuable, and the right one could be worth far more than its face value. If you enjoy discovering hidden wealth in American coinage, subscribe to Coins Most Valuable like this video, and comment below if you own a 1971 Eisenhower dollar. The next record-breaking coin might already be in your collection. So here's the truth most people never realize. These Eisenhower dollars aren't just big, heavy coins from the 1970s. They are hidden pieces of American history. Coins that have sold for six figures, coins that most families still have sitting in drawers, jars, and old collections without ever knowing their true value. The difference between a $1 coin and a life-changing payday often comes down to a tiny detail. A strike, a surface, a variety, a condition most people overlook. And that's exactly why you can't afford to ignore the coins you already own. Before you spend another Eisenhower dollar, before you assume it's common, take a second look. Because as you've seen, the right example can be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, if you think these dollar coins are surprising, wait until you see what's happening with Lincoln wheat pennies. Some of those small copper cents have shattered records and completely shocked collectors across America. Make sure you watch my full video on Lincoln wheat pennies next. You do not want to miss what I reveal there. If you're serious about finding valuable coins in circulation, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an update from coins most valuable. Like this video, share it with someone who collects coins, and drop a comment below telling me which Eisenhower dollar you have, because the next rare coin discovery could already be in your pocket.